I'm Julian from Alibaba Cloud Database International Product Team. Today, I'm going to give you a PolarDB for MySQL and AnalyticDB for MySQL tutorial about data synchronization from OLTP database to OLAP data warehouse. PolarDB for MySQL is 100% compatible with MySQL. It is a super MySQL for cloud-native, compute and storage decoupled architecture designed for elasticity, transactional data storage capacity, and the high performance. AnalyticDB for MySQL is designed for petabytes data level real-time data warehousing with high concurrency and low latency. PolarDB supports the business transactional application. With the data synchronized from PolarDB to AnalyticDB data warehouse, it could support real-time BI reporting and analytics applications. Big data is retained in this petabytes level data warehouse, so no need to purge months or years data, which could also support data scientists for query-based data mining and analysis. I have already created a PolarDB for MySQL cluster in Singapore region. Since I need to connect the PolarDB for my demo, so I apply to generate the public-facing endpoint. Then add an extensive IP to the IP whitelist. After that, let me create an account for testing. Next, let me create a database as the source database to be synchronized to the target AnalyticDB data warehouse. Also, I wrote a Python script with the py-MySQL module as the PolarDB for MySQL client to connect to it. Here, I use it to execute a DDL to create a table in PolarDB as the source table to be synchronized later. Then, let me log on to the DMS for PolarDB for MySQL to check out the table. Okay, this is for the source. Then let me go to the target. I also have already created an AnalyticDB for MySQL cluster in Singapore region. And for the demo, I also applied to generate the public endpoint. And add my laptop's IP to the IP whitelist. Then let me create accounts for testing. Then let's go back to the source, PolarDB for MySQL. From there, click the Synchronized data, or you can enter from Data Transmission Service product webpage. To create a data synchronization channel between PolarDB for MySQL as the source and AnalyticDB for MySQL as the target in Singapore region. To make sure the transmission efficiency, create the data synchronization channel in the Singapore region as well. Choose the source as PolarDB and the target as AnalyticDB for MySQL. Please pay attention from the transactional database to data warehouse. It is one-way synchronization. Go to the DTS console to configure the synchronization channel. Here, let's specify the source PolarDB and the target AnalyticDB version 3.0. In the step of select object to synchronize, we can either initial schema synchronization and initial full data synchronization. Or if you already predefined the schema in the data warehouse, do not check the initial schema synchronization. Or just do the incremental data synchronization afterwards by unchecking the initial full data synchronization. Suppose here, the target data warehouse is empty. Let me check the initial schema synchronization. In the pre-check step, get an error saying that we need to enable the bin log for the source PolarDB for MySQL. By default, bin log is turned off. So let me go to the PolarDB to turn on it. The parameter entry is loose underscore polar underscore log underscore bin. Here, let me change the value to on underscore with underscore gtid to enable the bin log. We are in the PolarDB for MySQL 5.6, but in the versions 8.0, the parameter value will be just on instead of on with gtid. When apply changes, this parameter need to take effect after restarting the cluster. As mentioned before, we can either initial schema synchronization to the empty target data warehouse. And for most of the cases in the real application, we usually have predefined schema already in the AnalyticDB data warehouse. So to demo this case, let me first go to the AnalyticDB and create target table beforehand. DTS relies on the same column name to map the source table column and the target table column synchronization. Since we have column 1 to column 4 in the source PolarDB, here we create a table with the same column name pattern. In this demo, I wrote 3 Python scripts. One is the insert client to insert data into the source PolarDB. One is the query client to query the row count from the source PolarDB. And another one is the query client to query the row count from the target AnalyticDB. Later, I will run these 3 scripts to see the data synchronization process. Before that, let me back to DTS to configure the synchronization channel again. Since now, the target table has already been defined in the target AnalyticDB, let me configure with the existing target table and the column mappings. Here, suppose we only want to synchronize the column 1 and column 3, then check these 2 columns. Please make sure that the source and the target column data type are compatible. For the data type compatibility, please check with the DTS document. Then the pre-check passed successfully, and the synchronization task started successfully as well. Let me start to run 3 Python scripts. The inserter insert data into the source. One query client query row count from the source. Another query client query row count from the target. You can see that the data inserts in the source are incrementally synchronized to the target. Okay, that's all for the demo. So let's recap the content. PolarDB for MySQL is 100% compatible with MySQL. It is a super MySQL for the cloud-native compute and storage decoupled architecture designed for the elasticity, transactional data storage capacity, and the high performance. The AnalyticDB for MySQL is designed for the petabytes data level real-time data warehousing with high concurrency and low latency. The PolarDB supports the business transactional application with the data synchronized from PolarDB to AnalyticDB data warehouse. It could support real-time BI reporting and analytics application. Big data is retained in this petabytes level data warehouse, so no need to purge months or years data, which could also support data scientists for query based on data mining and analysis. Please scan these QR codes for more details of the products. Thanks for your time.